My son's teacher called and asked if we owned a shovel with a red handle. I'm sorry, what? I said, setting down the mug harder than I meant to. She repeated it slowly, each word deliberate. Does your family own a shovel with a red handle? My mind scrambled for context. We have tools in the garage. Why are you asking about a shovel? The pause stretched too long. Mr. Brennan, I need you to come to the school right away. Don't bring your son, just you. She hung up before I could ask anything else. I stood there holding my phone, watching steam rise from the coffee I hadn't taken a single sip of yet. My wife Natalie was upstairs getting dressed for work, and our son Oliver was in his room playing video games before school started. Everything was normal 15 seconds ago. I called up the stairs that I had to run to the school for something and would be back soon. Natalie yelled down, asking if everything was okay, and I said yes, even though my stomach was already twisting itself into knots. The drive took 8 minutes through morning traffic that felt like it was deliberately slowing me down. Every red light lasted an eternity, while I tried to figure out what a shovel could possibly have to do with third grade. Oliver was doing fine in school, as far as I knew. His grades were good, no behavioral problems. He'd been going to Riverside Elementary for 2 years now without a single issue that required me coming in for an emergency meeting. Mrs. Delacroix taught the class next door to his, so why was she calling about Oliver at all? I parked in the visitor lot and walked through the front entrance where the secretary buzzed me in without her usual cheerful greeting. She just pointed toward the principal's office with an expression that made my chest tighten. Principal Graham was waiting in his office with Mrs. Delacroix and another woman I didn't recognize who introduced herself as Detective Paulson from the county sheriff's department. The detective's presence turned my confusion into something sharper and more dangerous. I sat down in the chair they'd positioned facing all three of them, feeling like I'd walked into an interrogation I didn't know was happening. Mr. Brennan, thank you for coming so quickly, Graham said, his hands folded on his desk. We have a situation that requires your immediate attention and cooperation. Detective Paulson opened a folder and slid 3 photographs across the desk. They showed a section of the woods behind the school playground, and in each image there was disturbed earth, fresh digging. And propped against a tree in 2 of the photos was a shovel with a bright red handle that I recognized immediately because I'd bought it at the hardware store last spring. My mouth went dry. Where did you get these pictures? Mrs. Delacroix answered, her voice still carrying that cold precision. I take my class on nature walks every Friday afternoon. We go into the woods behind the school to study local ecosystems. She paused, choosing her words carefully. This morning I decided to walk the trail before school started to check the path conditions. I found this site about 200 yards from the playground fence. Detective Paulson leaned forward. Mr. Brennan, I need you to be very honest with me right now. Is this your shovel? I looked at the photos again, my brain refusing to process what I was seeing. It looks like ours. We have one like that in our garage, but I don't understand what it's doing in the woods behind the school. The detective made a note. When did you last see this shovel? I tried to think back through the blur of routine days. I used it maybe 3 weeks ago to transplant some bushes in our yard. It should be hanging in the garage with the rest of our tools. Graham cleared his throat. Mr. Brennan, we need to ask you directly. Did you dig in those woods for any reason? The question hit me like cold water. What? No, I've never been in those woods. I drop Oliver off at school and pick him up. That's it. Detective Paulson's expression didn't change. Has anyone else had access to your garage recently? Anyone who might have borrowed the shovel? I shook my head, trying to make sense of this. Our garage isn't locked. It's just a suburban neighborhood. People don't lock their garages during the day. The detective wrote something else down. I need to be direct with you, Mr. Brennan. We're investigating a missing child case. 11-year-old Ashley Simmons was reported missing 3 days ago. She was last seen leaving the school. The room tilted sideways. Missing child. The disturbed earth. My shovel. The connections formed a picture so horrifying my mind rejected it completely. You think someone buried her there? The words came out flat because my brain couldn't process the emotion behind them yet. We're investigating all possibilities, Detective Paulson said carefully. But yes, we brought in a cadaver dog this morning before school started. The dog alerted at that sight. Mrs. Delacroix's face had gone pale. We haven't excavated yet. We wanted to speak with you first since the shovel appears to be yours. I stood up so fast, the chair scraped loudly against the floor. I had nothing to do with this. I don't even know who Ashley Simmons is. Graham held up his hands. No one is accusing you of anything yet, Mr. Brennan, but you need to understand how this looks. Your shovel at a potential gravesite for a missing child who attended this school where your son is enrolled. My heart was hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. I want a lawyer. Detective Paulson nodded like she'd been expecting that. That's your right, but I'm going to need you to come down to the station to answer some questions officially. And that's when things took a turn I never expected. Full story is linked below or on my channel.